Namaste and welcome to the class. Let's do some prayers before we start our studies. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Vargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma sadgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sahna bhavatu sahna bhunaktu saviryam karvahvai, tejasvi navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om shanti 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 om. Let's open our books on verse number 10. And I understand this chapter number 6 of this Shvetashvarta Upanishad. See, Shvet means white, Ashav means horses. Okay? And from here, the indication is that we got to make sure that our horses are white too. White means sattvic. If we want to bring our awareness upward. And what are the horses for us? Our senses. Yes, sattvic sight, sattvic hearing, sattvic speech, everything sattvic. The legs should take us towards the sattvic place. The hands should also do the sattvic actions. So Shveta. Then what happens? We'll be able to experience what these rishis are experiencing. So there was a main rishi and then a younger rishis, or you can call it a rishi kumars. They went to this ashram. And now they are speaking about their experience too. So let's look at verse number 10. Yatantu nabha ivtantu bhi pradhan jaya swabhavatah devaha ekaswam avrinot sanadadhat vram apyam. Ya means who? Tantu nabha. That means a spider. See, we see beautiful metaphors and the analogies in the Upanishads so that we can understand this deep philosophy. If means like, tantu bhi with its verb. Pradhan jaya with the products of nature. Swabhavataha spontaneously. Devaha, Lord, Ekaha, one, Swam, himself, Avrinot, covers. Sa means he, na means us, Dadhat, may grant, Brahm apyam, absorption in Brahma. May the one Lord, who covers himself spontaneously with the products of nature. What are the products of nature? This Maya. The God is everywhere, but he covers himself with this Maya. Just as a spider covers itself with its web. Grant us absorption in Brahma, the truth. We all know that spider weaves a web from its own secretions. And with those thin threads that come from his navel, he makes a beautiful web and then hides behind it. And once the insect is trapped in it, he swallows it up. Both the insect as well as the web. It's just like all those threads, they come out of him and it goes back into him. And the insect also. So in the same way, God creates a great, grand web, which is this world, from himself alone. It's not that he is using some other material. All is his. So from himself, his own inherent power, that's why it's called Pradhan. Pradhan is another term for Maya Shakti. It has the seed of the entire creation in it. So the most intricate and widespread web seems to hide God. And we, the individuals, are caught in it, just like a web. So we cannot see it. So that's why this is like a prayer. Sanudadhat Brahma Apyam. So like the spider who swallows the insect trapped in the web, O Lord, grant us absorption in you. We want to become one with you. Swallow us. Apyam. May we become one with you. See, that is the ultimate goal. Right now we feel separate from God. So we are saying, God, please absorb us. May our ego that separates us from you merge in you. Because ego is the one which keeps us separate from him. May we become your food, because that insect is becoming a food for the spider. So when we become the food for God, we are dissolved in him. It's almost like if we eat apple, what happens to the apple? The original form of the apple is gone. The essence of the apple becomes us. So may we too ever abide in you, the truth which is our own self. Okay, simple looking mantra, but the whole essence of Vedic knowledge is in there, with a beautiful metaphor which we can all understand. And now next mantra is a beautiful mantra for meditation. Ekaha deva sarvabhuteshu gudaha sarvvyapi sarvabhut antaratmaha karamadhyakshaha sarvabhut dhivasaha sakshi chetaha kevala nirgunacha. Ekaha, one, God, Deva, sarvabhuteshu, in all beings, gudaha, hidden, sarvavyapi, all pervasive, sarvabhut antaratmaha, the inner self of all beings, karam adhyakshaha, one who presides over all actions, adhyaksha, sarvabhut adhivasaha, the indweller of all beings. So that means God is indwelling in all the beings. Sarvabhut adhivasa. Sakshi, witness. Chetaha, pure consciousness. Kevalaha, one alone. Nirgunaha, without any attributes. So like without sattvika, rajsikta or tamsikta. Cha means that. The one God remains hidden in all beings. One God. There's only one God. Remember that always. The one God remains hidden in all beings. He is all pervasive and the inner self of all beings. He is the one who presides over and all actions and is the indweller of all beings. He is the witness, pure consciousness. One alone. That means without a second. There can never be anybody equal to him. Without any attributes, nirguna. Okay? So one God, that is the very first thing in this verse, Ekaha Deva. It is worth noting that time and again we are reminded that there's only one God. But still we forget. We think there are many gods. One God. All our Upanishads, they declare that. The word Ekaha also means that one that goes everywhere. That's also, it's in Sanskrit, it says, Etehe sarvatra gacchati iti ekaha. That is a definition of ek. See, just like a one is present in all numbers. All counting begins with one. It is the substratum of all numbers, like God, who's the common substratum of this world. One. Sarva bhuteshu gudaha. That is the second part of this verse. Hidden in all beings. Someone asked a saint as to why God keeps himself hidden. That saint jokingly replied, because everyone goes to him with a list of demands. I want this, I want this. So God just wants to stay away. It is there, but we cannot see him. So he appears hidden only because we are looking outside. Even when we go to the temple, we go to the temple to get something from God. We pray because we want something from God. We don't want to go within. Even though he lives within us, but we don't take our attention towards him. So that's why we cannot find him. He's there, right there. In us, in everybody else also. He says, Sarva bhuteshu gudaha. There is no being, no place where God is not. But our attention is towards the material desires. Then Sarva Vyapi, Sarva Bhut Antaratmaha. All pervading God in the inner self. God lives as the very self in all of us. So if the question comes that how far is God from us? He is neither near nor far. He is our own self. God is all pervading, can be seen everywhere, only if we focus towards it though. And what does he do within us? If he is living in us, what does he do? In this verse, it's said, Sakshi Chetaha. God is witnessing. That's why he's called the witnessing consciousness. He is the witnessing consciousness within us. Sakshi means one who witnessing itself and illumines all others without any aid. God doesn't need anything else to shine. Okay? It is his own effulgence. And a witness must also be impartial. And God is that self-evident consciousness. He illumines all thoughts impartially and needs nothing. No external thoughts and no external lights to illumine himself or others. And because of the presence of God in us, this body of ours, the mind of ours, intellect of ours, shows the vitality, knowledge. So mere presence of God, mere presence, he doesn't have to do anything. That's why Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am life in all living beings. Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. In 7th chapter. He says, Bhutanam asmi chetnaha. In the 10th chapter again, you can see these parts in these verses. Then kevalo nirgunaha. That's another attribute he showed over here. God nirguna. God is one without a second, free from any differences, undivided, indivisible, partless, complete. And he is without these gunas. These gunas, they belong to the Prakriti. Always remember that you cannot say that God is sattvic. Okay? Or when God destroys, we cannot say God is tamasic. No. The sattvikta, rajsikta, tamsikta, they are the inherent nature of the Maya. And he is unconditioned by time, space, or objects which have qualities and properties. A person may ask, The knowledge, love, peace, and joy, aren't these God's inherent qualities? Because often we talk about that too. Answer is that these are his very nature, essence. Just like a peaceful mind is the quality of the mind, but the absence of all agitation is the peace, which is the nature of the self. Wherever we see the finiteness, we'll find sorrow. Wherever we see the infinitude, that is the nature of the truth, which is called bliss. So, Sakshi Chetaha Kevalo Nirguna. That is a very famous and often quoted nature of the truth. So, Sakshi Chetaha Kevalo Nirguna. And the more we know about ourselves, our origin, the purpose of life, less we get involved with these non-essentials. And outcome of that is what? The greater the joy in our life. And in the next mantra, this Rishi is urging us to be truly happy. Truly happy. Ekahavashi, Nishkriya Nam Bahu Nam Ekam, Bijam Bahudaya Kroti, Tam Atmastham Ye Anupashyanti, Dhira Tesham Sukham Shashwatam Na Itre Sham. Again, Eka means one, Vashi, who controls all. Vashi. Nishkriyanam, actionless. So he controls, but he is still actionless. Bahunam, of the many. Ekam, one, bijam, seed. Bahuda, multiples. Ya means who, karoti, does. Second line, tam, him, atmastam, seated in themselves. Ye means those, anupashyanti, see continually. See, anu word is okay, smallest portion of anything, anu. So, anupashyanti, sees continuously. Dhiraha, wise, tesham, for those, sukham, happiness. Shashwatam, permanent. Na means not, itre sham, for others. Only those wise people, dhiraha, who are able to say continually the one Lord, who controls all and who multiplies the one seed of the many that are actionless, seated in themselves, attain happiness that is permanent, not others. So it's almost like a wake-up call for us seekers. At the time of the dissolution also, the innumerable living beings, along with the vasanas, go into a dormant state, along with all the realms of experiences and the elements. This unmanifest condition is called samne avastha. So that means all the qualities of the sattva, rajas, and tamas are balanced. And when the time is right, the vasanas, total vasanas, they ripe again. And there's a manifestation. And that is the primordial seed which sprouts with the will of God. The elements, the realms of experiences, and the living beings come into existence. That's why it said, God wills. What does he will? Let me become many. And that's what this Bahuda means. And then the world and beings are created and he enters into the all beings. This we learned in Taittiriya Upanishad. The individuals who are dormant during dissolution in turn start responding to their wake-up call of God. Because those vasanas of those people, They have ripened. They start their journey again by assuming different bodies in different worlds. There are countless different forms. As a human being, we cannot even understand how many forms are there. We don't even know how many forms are on this earth, let alone in all those outer worlds. So then again, at the time of the dissolution, they merge back into the primordial state for a long rest. This just keeps on happening. The cycles continue. Some rare few wise people sit back and review this endless journey. See, either we can just be busy in going through the cycles, or we can just retract and meditate on it. Turn within to find permanence and true meaning in this changing world and in this fleeting life. If we stay busy in this cycle, we'll never find it. Because cycle, there's no beginning and there's no end. That's why this is a cycle. But in order to understand, we have to sit back and think about it. So these wise people, dheer people, they approach a guru, learn from him, and they too realize the immortal truth. And this is what these Rishi Kumars are doing. Upadesham anupashyati. So continuous. See, we like to know it too, but here and there we find time to listen to all this or read this or meditate. But we got to do it more often. This is what anupashyati means. And that's why these wise people are able to see God in their heart continuously. And what happens after that? They enjoy continuously this everlasting bliss. And that is a true awakening. So no matter what happens in the outer world, but there is a bliss inside, because that is the nature of God. That is the nature of us, which is called a true happiness. True happiness is that which puts an end to all sorrows permanently. You can open your Bhagavad Gita after this class, chapter number 18, verse number 36. Lord Krishna says, Dukhantam cha nigachati. All the sorrow has ended. Most individuals alternate between happy and unhappy moments. It's not that we have not seen happiness, but we fluctuate between these two. Many people spend time preparing to become happy. A lot of people keep on waiting for the weekend to come if they're working during the weekdays. They'll enjoy the weekend. Or many people just wait for that vacation. They'll enjoy that. All the money, all the effort they put into for that happy moment. But the happiness of the joy is momentary. This Rishi is promising us, you don't have to pretend to be happy. You don't have to go anywhere to be happy. You don't have to plan to be happy. You are happy. Because otherwise we keep on thinking that if we get that XYZ, we'll be happy. After getting the XYZ, you see somebody else got the ABC and you want that. Because your own happiness looks smaller than the other people's happiness. We have seen, we all mothers and fathers say, child wants something, parent get it for them. The child says, no, this is the only thing I want. But the minute they get it, they have some other desire. Only then they'll be happy. And that's what has happened to us adults too. Because this is the state of all individuals, irrespective of our gender or our age. That's why the truly wise people are rare. Because those wise people, they have found the God in their heart. And they feel that bliss, everlasting bliss forever. Okay? And it is available to all of us. It's not only, we all are on the path to become wise. So we are always looking out for forever relationships. With whom should we forge such a relationship? Because as human beings, we are social beings, we are looking for relationships also. Let's look at it, what this Rishi is saying in verse number 13. Nityaha nitya nam chetnaha chetna nam eka bahu nam yo vidhati kaman tat karnam Sankhya Yoga Adhigamyam Gyatva Devam Muchyate Sarvapashay. Nitya, eternal. Nitya Nam, of all eternals. Chetna, sentiency. Chetna Nam, of all sentience. Ekaha, single. Bahunam, of all. Ya means who, with dhati, fulfills kaman, desires. Tat karnam, cause of this world. Sankhya Yoga Adhigamyam, who can be known through Sankhya Yoga. Gyatva, by knowing, Devam, God, Muchyate, liberated, Sarvapashay, from all bondages. One is liberated from all bondages by knowing God. Who is the eternal of all that is eternal? Who is the sentience of all that is sentient? Who fulfills all desires of all people single-handed? Who is the cause of this world and can be known through Sankhya Yoga? Okay, so our eternal relationship. In simple terms, in our Aarti, don't we sing this? Tvamev Mata cha Pita Tvamev. Tvamev Bandhuscha Sakha Tvamev. Right? So same thing in this verse over here. That eternal relationship. All our life we cry for the relationships. Have we ever cried for this eternal relationship? Nitya Nitya Naam, God is forever. What is this eternal? For an ant who lives for a few days, human life seems endless. And for us who are meant to live 100 years, the deities and Lord Brahma seem to live forever. Also, thousands of generations have seen the same sun, moon, stars, galaxies, which seem eternal. The body perishes, but the 5 elements from which it is made keep on living. Body is discarded after soul leaves, either buried or burnt. But the individual Jeev who owns and disowns it will go on forever. The world too manifests and goes back to an unmanifest condition. There seem to be many eternal factors in this world. So with which form we should have a relationship forever? Remember that everything is born in time or conditioned by time. therefore ever changing, even though appears to exist forever. God is the one which is changeless, eternal, substratum. Kutastha nitya. No change can happen unless there is a substratum, and substratum is God. So only a relationship with the truly changeless will not change and last forever. Any other relationship is temporary. It could be long, but not eternal. And we are looking for that eternal relationship. That's why in our worldly relationships also, we pay more importance to the longer lasting relationships. That's why we celebrate our silver anniversaries and the golden anniversaries, and we feel closer to our siblings or parents or uncles, aunts, or people who work together for a longer time. But all of that is transitory. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The eternal relationship, according to this Rishi, is only with God, which we don't pay much attention. And God is life, Chetana, Chetana Nam. God is the one consciousness enlivening the body, senses, and the mind. He manifests as life in all beings, Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu. Again from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. We do not live because of oxygen or food. If that were the case, none would die in the present time and live forever. But that's not the case. We all know that. On the artificial respirators, we cannot live. Man does not live due to inhalation or exhalation, but some other factor on which both depend. Na pranen na apanen mrityo jivati kashan. Itren tu jivanti yasmin etau upashrata. This we learned in Path Upanishad. We should never forget what we have learned before. God is the wish fulfiller also. Because some people can fulfill some desires of a person, some can fulfill some other desires of many people. Some may also achieve a superhuman task of fulfilling all the desires of one person, but none can fulfill all the desires of everyone. Only God can. Only God can. God is taking care of a little ant who lives in a stone. Break a stone, you will find some bugs living there. Who's taking care of them? God is. The deities, when they duly worshipped, fulfill certain desires. They do. That's why Lord Krishna said, Mayeva hitan hitan. He says they do so only with my power. So all the devatas, we worship them, we want to fulfill our desires, but ultimately they even get the powers from God. That's what Lord Krishna said. We should not take pride that we fulfill the wishes of others. We are mere instruments for this divine will. He alone is the true cause. Tad karanam. The scriptures on devotion compare God to the heavenly wish-fulfilling tree, Kalptaru, or Kalpavriksha, or heavenly wish-fulfilling cow, Kamdhenu. We learned about that in Bhagavad Puran, in Ramayana also, and the wish-fulfilling crystal, Chintamani. God is all of them put together and lot more. And this realization This Rishi is saying can happen through Sankhya Yoga. This Sankhya Yoga over here can be understood in two ways. That means the truth can be realized through the path of knowledge, Sankhya. Okay? You remember in Bhagavad Gita, there is a chapter, second chapter, Sankhya Yoga chapter, and Lord Krishna gave all kinds of knowledge to Arjuna. So path of knowledge. Sankhya also means discrimination between the self and the not self. Constantly discerning between what is true, what is false, what is temporary, what is permanent, what is eternal, what is non-eternal. That is also called a Sankhya. First, we must initiate such an inquiry and know what is the self and not self, which to be ignorant appears as real. To a child, even a reflection of the moon in water seems a real moon. So the same way we are children, still children, we think this is real. But wise rishis, they say, no, it's not real. We must absorb our mind in the self and realize the truth. That is called yoga. So with the help of the knowledge, the real knowledge, we establish that union. The next mantra is most famous and chanted while showing the lights, like a arti during ritualistic worship also. Let's look at that too. In fact, this mantra is in Katha Upanishad, in the Mundak Upanishad also, the same mantra. Na tatra surya bhati, na chandra tarkam, na ima vidyuta bhanti, kuta ayam agni, tam eva bhantam, anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvam, idam vibhati. Na tatra, na means not, tatra means there, surya, the sun, bhati, shine. Na chandra tarkam, not the moon and the stars. Chandra means moon, tara means tarakam means stars. Na means not, imatis, vidyuta, lightning, bhanti, shine, kutaha. How? Or how can? I am this Agni, fire. Tam eva, he himself, bhantam, shining, anubhati, shines after it. Sarvam all, tasya his, bhasaha by light, sarvam all, idam these, vibhati, shines. The sun does not shine there, nor does the moon, nor the stars. The lightning does not shine there, much less this fire. When he shines, everything shines after him. By his light alone do all these shine. So none can illumine God. The five natural sources of light in this world are the sun, moon, stars, lightning, and fire. You'll all agree. The moon reflects the light of the sun. And every star is also a sun. The sun evaporates the waters of the sea, which form clouds, which clash and generate lightning. That's another source of light. The earth as a planet was once a part of the sun, and through ages of changes created fuel in terms of natural oil or wood, which lights up the fire. So man-made sources of light like electricity also ultimately depend upon the sun. That's why it said, sun is the chief source of all light. None of these natural or man-made sources of light can illumine God. That is the point he's making over here. Because the effect cannot illumine the cause. Everything else is the effect. Cause is the God. Also, the known cannot know the knower, or the seen cannot know the seer. So the sun, the moon, etc. are seen by the eyes and known to the mind. God is the consciousness that illumines them, therefore cannot be known to them. The sun is the presiding deity of the eyes. That means all the sense organs of perception, actually. The moon of the mind, representing mind, intellect, memory, I amness. Fire is the presiding deity of speech. It means that God illumines the senses and the mind, but they in turn cannot illumine God. That's why if somebody wants to understand God only through the eyes or the ears or the mind or the intellect, can't. Because they cannot illumine God. Neither can the eyes see the self, nor the mind conceive of him. And let me add, nor the speech can describe him. The significance of the arti in this verse, because we all know we wave the light of the arti before the Lord. We have that light in our arti thali. And we say when the sun, the moon, stars, or lightning, which are such great illuminators, cannot illumine God, then how can this little light that I show illumine God? There are some temples in South India. In the middle of the temple, usually it's dark. Only with the light of the arti, the form of the Lord is seen. God is always there in our heart, even when not seen due to the darkness of ignorance. He has been telling us in these verses that it's everywhere in every heart, but we don't see it. So the light of the lamp represents the knowledge and thought. Akhand akar vritti, I am infinite, which dispels the ignorance that I am the body or I am finite. And I want to dispel the darkness. I want to see the God within me. That is also the meaning of this arti. The thought that I am the infinite truth cannot illumine the truth, but it serves the purpose of removing the ignorance that I am finite. The self is self-shining, does not need any natural light or the sense organs or thoughts to illuminate. It is the light in which we see our dream, the light that illumines the absence of all thoughts in the deep sleep, and the thoughts of knowledge and ignorance of objects of the sight. In fact, all that exists, all that functions is only in the light of God. After we finish the arti, what do? We put our hands over the light of the lamp and then touch our eyes, our head. As we do this, we pray, may I gain such divine knowledge. That lamp represents the knowledge. It can also mean that this light which has revealed his divine form, may it purify and divinize my vision and my thoughts also. So when we do arti every day, even though our own temples in our homes, they are not dark, but we can have this bhavana though, these sentiments, that with this light, God, please help me to see The self, the light, which is nothing other than you residing in me and in everyone else also. Next week, we will start with the verse number 15, where we'll see that there is no other way to liberation without the reflection and our personal realization. Because meditation is a must, reflection is a must if we want the personal realization. So that's why again and again this great Rishi is telling us to do this. Let's stop the class here today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.